live our life till we die. And then what is beyond death? So death is a reality, of course we see it, but what is beyond death is what had intrigued me also. What happens after death? So if you see all the secular education which is provided to us um, in our student life and college, and further in our professional life also, is to how you deal or resolve the issues till death. That is pretty much what we are doing. Beyond death, that is the how do we go understanding what happens beyond death, is where the spiritual traditions come into picture. Religious and spiritual traditions, they come into picture. So if you see any of these spiritual traditions, pick up anyone, irrespective of their name or their dimensions or anything, any aspect related to their uniqueness as such, identifying them. If you pick up any, they only deal with 5 different elements. First one, any of the spiritual traditions or any of the religious beliefs. First one is where you are. That is where your consciousness is at. What is your current consciousness? Second, if you see, is the where do you want to go? So where you are currently and where do you want to reach? Third is what is the experience you want to have, you expect, or you want to have while reaching that destination. That is the third. And fourth is what is the path you want to take to reach your goal? What is the path for that journey? And fifth is what are the obstacles you will face in that path? Apart from these 5, there cannot be anything else in any spiritual tradition. And when you tweak any of these parameters, the details of this, the religion is named, the spiritual tradition is named. So as you change something in that name comes into picture. But nothing beyond these can go in any spiritual study or tradition. So you call it whatever name you pick up, it will be only revolving around these 5. Cannot be anything extra than that. Yeah. So where you are, where you want to go, yeah. What do you expect in the journey? What is the journey? What is the path you're taking? Fourth is sorry. So where who you are, where you are, where do you want to go? Second, what are you expecting during the
Experience.
reaching?
Yeah.
What are you expecting in that journey towards that goal? Fourth is what is that journey? What is the path you want to take for that journey? And fifth is the obstacles you'll face in that path. That's all describes. If you pick up anything, you will be able to relate it. Not just then Bhagavad Gita. The reason I personally like Bhagavad Gita is because it clearly defines certain facts, and I can relate it to myself, and I'm able to practically understand it. There is a gyan and there is a vigyan. Gyan is knowledge, vigyan is the implementation of that knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita gives a lot of vigyan instead of just gyan. So one of the verses I think which we have already done, chapter 2, 13. Anyone remember that? 2.13. Just on top of your head without looking into the book. Yes? No? Okay. It says Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. Do you remember this verse? You know what's the meaning of this verse? Yes.
Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara, which means that just like your body goes from young childhood to adulthood to old age, you don't get bewildered by that. Then, same way, when your body is changing from one body to the next, then you should not be bewildered. The person who is dheer or
Yeah,
who is stable in that and doesn't get bewildered, he is eligible for uh,
that is in the
getting more.
next verse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's eligible for liberation.
Liberation.
Dhirastatra na muhyati. He does not leave his composure.
He does not leave his composure. Sorry. Yes.
So dhira means composure.
Yeah.
Dhira means composed. So the one who's composed is called Dhir Purush. One who is composed. So he doesn't leave his composure. Looking at the transformation from one body to another. Soul when goes from. So this verse makes a lot of things clear in terms of that there are there are things that constantly change in this world. And there are certain things which do not change. So when we speak about Bhagavad Gita, many people say it's religion-based book. As you were saying, because as Rishi was saying, I'm Hindu, so I feel more inclined towards Bhagavad Gita. But there are many people who are non-Hindus. They're also attracted towards Bhagavad Gita because they think it's a way of life. We learn it's a way of life, the way you should lead your life. It's also correct. So there is a debate, whether it's a religious book or this book. It's very international. Like shouldn't say international because now I'm a citizen of Australia. So for me, India is also international. But when we are, I mean, considering myself as an Indian, which I am, because my roots, I was born there. So when I look being an Indian, when I look at internationally, like other countries have also accepted Bhagavad Gita, not as a religious book, but as a way of life. So that debate is also right. That's a way of life. They've included it in understanding, you know, Bhagavad Gita from a different perspective. So that debate is going on whether it's a religious book or no. That's saying that, but but basically the understanding, if you see the idea of religion and spirituality is helping a person understand the journey of the soul in this life and beyond life. So understanding that what is the journey of the soul within this life and beyond life, that is what this verse is speaking about. So when we go back to our first five elements, first five aspects which we discussed, that the journey, where you are and where do you want to go. So Bhagavad Gita is an ultimate book to make you understand. That's why it becomes a very important book for anyone who's trying to understand spirituality. It covers all the aspects very nicely, the journey of the soul. So this verse attracts me a lot. So when to practically understand this, when I was trying to grasp it, what I understood was that the body, it goes through multiple changes. Like I said before, Kalpesh, because he knows me because he's my friend from last 30 years, 30 odd years. So how do I know this? Because we were together at that time. So when I say so I remember the trips we went to, the college we went to, we were together. I know those things very well. Now when I say this, when we are referred, when I was 16, 30 years ago, 17, 30 years, 16, when 30 years ago, when we were 17 years old, when we were 16 years old. So there is something which is unchanging. That is me. So I can go and think about it. But but the body is changed. So when I refer to I was when I was 16 years old. When I refer to myself that so there is an unchanging I which makes me share things. As I have been personally, or Kalpesh has been the witness of that, of those changes around me. So I have witnessed all the changes, but I have not changed. So there is something which is not changed. And that is what is the soul Krishna speaks about. So when you think when you were 5 years old or 10 years old, basically you are not that, right? If you look at your body, but you can still take yourself back. You can't take me there because I wasn't there when you were 10 years old, but you can take yourself there. So there is something which is unchanged. Why can't I perceive what you can? If everything is changed like me, why can't I perceive? You can, right? So there is something within you which is not changed, which is who's that? He's the witness of what has happened when you were 10-year old, and that is you. Does it make sense, Rishi?
But isn't that memory, Prabhuji? That is.
Yeah, but how far can you go? You see, memory, you may not be able to remember something which I remember when I was 3 years old. So you may not be able to go and you know when you were 3 years old, but I can. It's not constant again, right? It's changing. So memory is also changing.
But.
But what is not changing is the witness, you. You may remember, you may not remember.
Mm,
Some things not.
mm-hmm,
But you can still go at that point, and if you go to that place, you'll instantly remember that this is what I've done here.
mm.
But that place might have completely changed. You may not see that thing at all. Like I'll give you my my personal experience. I had studied in a place called Kota. I don't know if you know about this place. Back in the times, when I was studying year 3, year 4. I was there for 3, 4 years. One of my best times. It's a place in Rajasthan. Now it is considered to be a IIT hub. Most of the institutes there are generating students who get admission in IIT. So that is a place I used to study. But now when I go there, I went there in 2016. There was nothing which I could relate to because all the places had those buildings and all that stuff. It was a fantastic place and a very open playgrounds and very open space near the Chambal River, which was very pleasant. All that thing has been completely now uh, a lot of buildings. become more like a city. Even my friends, I met them. They were my school friends. And they have their own institutes now because it's a big business now running there. So I couldn't see what I had seen earlier. So the whole things have changed. But I have not. I still know that these are the things which I had done there. And it's not that that place is not, it's there, but the place is completely transformed now. But I'm still the same because I've witnessed it. So out of 100, maybe 80% I couldn't figure, but 20% I could straight away say, yes, that thing's still there. There were certain parks, there were certain things, statues inside the parks which have not changed. So I could just relate to them. Yes, these are the places I used to play here. So what is that? For memory also, who's keeping that memory? What is that energy which is keeping that memory? Although the things have changed, that is soul. So that really attracted me personally in understanding. So Bhagavad Gita has those answers. Does this make sense? Yes. It
Yes.
convinced me that yes, I am a soul. It's one of the major aspects which I found in Bhagavad Gita. Made me think that I'm not changing, the world is changing actually. Of course, my body is also a part of that world. But there is something beyond this body which is not changing. And that is me. And to understand that part is called spirituality. You may try and do something to keep your body younger, but still you are the same. And that constant, unchanged thing is your soul, is the soul, is actually you. Now, that journey of that soul within this body and beyond this body, that is spirituality. So coming back to the five of those aspects, you say, who am I? That is okay. Where am I? So which stage am I at? Where am I going to go? So where is my soul heading towards? You know, and this is the biggest thing. So if you see the changes, you know, uh, when Bhagavad Gita speaks about that body changes, but the soul does not change, you know, so that makes it very convenient for us. Yes, that there are certain things which are not changing. Otherwise, if you see in the world, there are 300 million people currently going through this issue of anxiety and fear of change. Major reason, fear of change. They cannot accept the change. So there is anxiety and stress because of the fear of this change, and unwanted change, which is just thrust upon, just that is thrust upon us. So Bhagavad Gita helps with that fear that something is not changing at all, and that is your soul. So if we understand that, then we are less fearful, less anxious. Yeah, does it make sense? No, Jay?
I'm sorry, it was my dad calling me. So
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Any questions on that? Do you find it convincing? It will help you a lot if you're convinced that I'm a soul.
Prabhuji, I remember we had one discussion on 2.17
Mhm.
about the nature of the body and the nature of the soul. I know
Yeah.
everybody, the group has not reached there, but essentially one part which I struggled with when we were discussing
Uh-huh.
was when we said, okay, the body, if you see what it is made up of the elements, just
Mhm.
like any other object, a book or a tree, tree is still living, but say a book or a piece of stone or whatever, if you kick it, it doesn't feel any pain, just like a dead body, once it's dead, doesn't feel any pain no matter what you do to it.
Yeah.
But and the soul's nature is known to be eternal, and it is just the association of the soul with the material body, which is the sense of which creates a sense of attachment to the body, the sense of pain or pleasure. That concept I really initially struggled with, but the more I thought about it, the more that helped me convince myself that there is no logically even thinking about it. There is no other way or no other conclusion but to understand that the soul is encapsulated in the body, but it is not the body. And
Yes.
we need to identify with that thing to make sense of what's going around.
Yeah.
It answers a lot of questions.
Yes. It does. It does. Very powerful words actually. Soul is indestructible. It cannot be destructed. It's there. So the soul's nature is Satchidanand. It is purely blissful. Actually, we have that bliss within us because we are souls. We have that nature. It's just because of the. So if you see the people, there are many people who you'll find they're in bliss. They're very peaceful. No problem. Say anything to them, they don't care. Whatever happens to them, they're also peaceful in that. Many, many I've seen. But there are few people who are really, you know, agitated. Small little things happening in their life, they'll just get agitated. And someone who are so happiness and sorrow. So person who's practicing spirituality, he experiences happiness within because he's trying to reach the soul, and the soul is also, the because there is a super soul also along with the soul, which tries to help the self-realization of someone who's trying to understand, you know, or trying to experience the quality of a soul. So slowly that happiness is, experienced from within. But it also happens that when that happiness is experienced, that what happens is that when that person sees others unhappy, then there is a bit of sorrow. So it's called paradukhe dukhi. So when he sees others in stress or anxiety, then he himself is dukhi. He is distressed. Paradukhe, that means the other person being, dukhi, then he is distressed. And that paradukhe dukhi, whoever he is a Vaishnav or he is a proper spiritualist. He has experienced happiness, but if he sees someone unhappy, then he feels sorrow. Tries to help them. But first is our own self. You should experience that happiness. Without that, you cannot find out who's in sorrow because If we ourselves are having that problem, you won't be able to understand whether other people are in sorrow. And people may not take you seriously. Your advice may not be seriously taken. So first we have to experience that. The spiritual level experiences that. So over a stage, when slowly and slowly when you practice what it is mentioned, what are the process you take as per the Vedic scriptures, as per Bhagavad Gita, you'll experience peace. You'll experience, that's called Prashant Atma. Shanti, but Prashant. Prashant means the ultimate peaceful. Ultimate peaceful. The peace which cannot be expressed in words or in actions. That peace is experienced. Yeah. That peace which you cannot explain it to others. So when you see that I'm experiencing that, another person is not, then you feel sorrow. It's called paradukhe dukhi. There are reasons why uh, you feel sorrow for others when you experience that. Do you want to know the reason? You understood what I'm trying to say? Slightly deeper. Yeah? You don't know? Why? Okay. Basically, there are 8 elements or items. This whole world, material world as we see, is encapsulated in. These are the 8 elements due to which this whole world or our world or anybody's world is running. First one is Atma, self. So we do things for our own self to maintain our body. The next is Jaya, wife, to maintain our wife. Third is Suta. Suta is children. So we do maintain our children. Fourth is Agar. Agar is the house. You have to maintain a shelter. Fifth is Pashu, vehicles. You have to maintain vehicles. Sixth is Dravina. Dravina means money, savings. Seventh is Bandhushu. Bandhushu is the acceptance we seek from society. See, this is one of the fears as well. People fear of not being accepted in the society or in the groups. They live with that fear, unfortunately. Bandhushu, recognition. Bandhushu also is recognition. If you're not recognized, you feel morose. You feel bad. Number 8, Rajya, control, power. Control over your career and progression. Control over others. Rajya. Now, these 8 things is what this whole world is running for. But a spiritual person has to only take care of one. Other people take care of all these 8. So the spiritualist or the person who is inclined towards spirituality, serious, he only has to take care of one, which is Atma, self. Slowly, slowly he comes to the point where he has finished all his things. He sets in such a way that he only takes care of Atma. So he's 88% less burdened than the others. Naturally, he generates that aura. Naturally, he generates that peace. Imagine, have you traveled light? सिर्फ कैबिन बैगेज लेके कभी ट्रैवल किया है इंटरनेशनल? बहुत मजा आता है, बहुत मजा आता है। 120 140 किलो कुछ नहीं है सर पे, सीधा एक छोटा सा बैग लगाया, हेडफोन्स, कोई फैमिली नहीं, कोई नहीं, नो ट्रैवल एजेंसी वर्क ये लेके आओ, लेके कुछ नहीं करने का, आराम से चलेंगे. So light. Obviously that person is peaceful. Atma. 88% less burden. So we have to try and be burden free. I'm not saying that you give away all these things. If you have a wife, you have to take care of the wife. But you have to have certain thresholds, certain limits. And the direction should be such that I have to ultimately take care of only myself. I have to finish these responsibilities and then ultimately reach at a point when I become Atma. So that I'm light. But the world doesn't teach you that. The secular education doesn't teach you that. It teaches you that the person who dies with maximum number of toys is successful. That is the difference in spiritual education and the secular education. Anything you learn in this world will be this, that I need to make this much before I die. Then only you're successful. But if you want to be really light and peaceful, then the spiritual traditions, they will teach you, or Bhagavad Gita will teach you how to get out of this world peacefully by slowly detaching yourself from all the elements and only being Atma. How good is that, isn't it? You feel light, relaxed. Yeah. Yeah. So that is Prashant, that feeling light. You will not be able to express that to anyone. Yeah. They say the difference between children is and us is only one. Small children and us is only one. We just have bigger toys which we cannot detach ourselves from. Otherwise, it's just the same. Somebody I remember, I don't know who. I'm 46. Someone, when I was 40, at the time, one of my friend from Melbourne, he was telling me, it's the time you should buy a BMW. I said, why? He said, when will you buy otherwise? You should. You must. I said, but I don't feel like. He said, no, you should. I said, I'm happy with the car, but he said, no, when will you buy otherwise? So, bigger toys. This shows the success in this world, unfortunately. But is that really the success? Bhagavad Gita says no. Success is when you know your destination of the soul. Success is when you enjoy the journey towards that destination. Success is when you realize that you are a soul. Success is when you know the purpose of your life. That is success. But that can only be experienced. It is like, of course, it is easy said than done, but it is also an experience. It is more of a realization than a concept for understanding. And as we read and understand Bhagavad Gita, if we practice certain processes which are best for self realization, then slowly we understand it more deeper and are able to realize those facts. So, this is gist of spirituality. Bhagavad Gita, chapter wise and sections wise, and what are the elements of Bhagavad Gita. I think we have done that quite a few times. Did that add to your understanding, Rishi? A little bit more?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very interesting points. Deeper understanding.
Prabhuji, some of the people are still on leave, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
So for next week, how do you want to do? Like, do you still want to keep the class?
I mean, if you guys are reading Bhagavad Gita, whatever we have read so far, and if you are reading, then if you have, I'm sure you will certainly come up with questions if you read.
Mm-hmm.
So if you read and if you have questions, this is the best platform to discuss.
Okay.
So if you do not want to continue with the verses we had left last at, if you want to leave it at that and discuss on whatever you are reading currently from chapter 1
Mm-hmm.
and your understanding so far, so we can continue these if you want
Okay.
half an hour, 45 minutes discussions,
Okay.
which may add on to things.
Mm.
I don't know whether we have discussed these before, these aspects before. Have we? Elements,
No,
different
I don't
eight
think so.
elements. So these kind of things, I may be able to share with you only we are not reading the verses of Bhagavad Gita, but that will be uh, only with respect to those verses. So this is an extra understanding if you're interested. Otherwise, I'm okay. If you want to skip the next Sunday, whatever, I'm open for that.
What do you guys suggest, Jay, Rishi, Abhijit?
I'm okay with anything. Better to continue. We can discuss the verses if
Okay.
there are any doubts.
Okay.
Better to continue with the sessions.
Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant we can continue with the session for
Okay.
discussion.
Let's do that then.
Okay. Any question, Kalpesh or Jay or Abhijit, on what we have discussed or what you have read?
The five elements you had explained,
Yeah.
I had read some of it in the introduction also.
Okay.
Isn't there one more element that how we look at the journey and how we enjoy the journey
Yeah.
without looking at the obstacles?
How we enjoy the journey without looking at the obstacles.
Yeah, or looking at the obstacles but ignoring them. Like again, the eight aspects of the human life, which was one was bandhushu,
Yeah.
the acceptance in the society,
Yeah.
from the society.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that is a greatest point or greatest anxiety in human life, I suppose, because I can see over here, means when there is a COVID or something strike, a family is struck by COVID, they try to keep it to themselves, not revealing, because they don't want, like, people are becoming paranoid. They are looking at the people like, oh, you got COVID, I am not going to come near you, and all those things.
Mm.
So I think those two, the elements and this particular these factors which rule the human life, somewhere they are connecting.
So with that aspect, of diseases like this, where people are paranoid, they are fearful. What they lack is the understanding, the knowledge. So this material world which you're talking about, in which we live, what we do here is all these 8 things which we do. But there are um, three types of miseries which are the part of this whole package. So these miseries which are
Mhm.
given to us or any living entity are classified into 3 different types. One is adhyatmic, next is adi bhautik, and third is adi devik. So adhyatmic is miseries generated from by our own self, like anxiety, stress, fear. So these are all the miseries by our own selves. Nobody else. We are generating them. These are our own problems. Adi bhautik are when other living entities cause us this problem, like any disease, like COVID. So it is caused by another living entity, a virus. He has caused this to us, or anyone giving us grief, any person giving us grief. Like for example, someone not accepting us is also adi bhautik. Adi devik is natural calamities. When you have like earthquakes, you know, you have disasters like tsunami. These are adi devik, caused by natural, mother nature reacting. So when you understand this classification, it's a part of a package. We have to deal with it. So someone who understands this, you know, very clearly, then he is not anxious. So someone who understands what is adi bhautik, that this is just nothing but a misery caused by others to me. It's part of this world. But my focus should be on that peace, that happiness, which is within me, which will be experienced if I'm trying to self-realize my own self, self-realize the soul. So where is the focus also? It um, changes our perspective towards these issues. If someone is really wanting to be accepted by a certain group, he is very desirable that if I'm not a part of that group, then I'm sad. I'm not happy. What is my life if I'm not a part of this? If he's too much attached to that kind of an acceptance, which if he's craving for that, then he will feel bad. So the idea is not to feel bad, but the idea is to shift the focus from being attached to something which is temporary, of course, the pain, to something which is permanent. So as one of my gurus, learning um, the Shastras from, he says that the solution to detachment is attachment. So if you want to detach from that desire of being accepted, if you want to detach from the desire of being accepted by certain groups or certain people, then you should try and attach to Krishna. So if your focus is not that, if your attachment is not with them, if you achieve that, if your attachment to Krishna, then whether they are with you or not with you, whether you accept it or not, you don't really care. The problem is not that you are not being accepted. Problem is that you care because you care that you're not being accepted. That is your main focus, unfortunately. Bandhushu is one of the burden we carry. Someone who has experienced peace within himself, Bandhushu is not a problem for him. But someone who likes to be recognized all the time makes him happy when he's recognized. For him, not being recognized or not being accepted will be a problem.
Prabhuji,
Correct.
this problem or this thinking is also still at the sense gratification level, isn't it?
What is getting happy is will tell you which level it is at. So if you're physically you are happy, if your health is better, you're feeling healthy, rejuvenated with that kind of fame or that kind of recognition, then maybe it is a sense level. But if you are like really feeling pride or proud, feeling that sense of pride when you get that, and sense of anger when you don't get that. So I'm saying both, huh? Pride and anger. If you think that, then it is at the ego
Ego.
level. So it is at the ego level. It is out of senses. It is much deeper, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Because handling the senses is okay. You can shut them down, force them. But settling down the ego is very difficult. It is deeper, stays for a long time. A person who has been respected all the time, hundred of times, 100 out of 100, everywhere is respected. If one small little thing on him, you'll just feel it so bad. You won't be able to take it. 10-second talk can hit him for 10 years. So it is very deep. So it is said that handling um, dishonor or someone chastising you, handling that is okay. But handling the fame or handling the recognition is difficult. Doesn't make sense? So someone insulting you, you know, that you may be able to handle. But handling the recognition or fame, handling that is very difficult because that person is chastised even for very short or very little volume of, if he's hit by very little volume, he'll feel too much suffered. He will feel it very badly. So handling that is very difficult. Handling that recognition, constant recognition is very difficult. Is it making sense? I remember
Yes.
I knew a person who always stood top rank in his engineering college. That was a very renowned engineering college. Once, one of the years, he went from first to second, just for one semester, not to for the year. He was heart stricken. He was so low that he almost committed suicide.
सेकंड
So
रैंक के
low,
लिए
just for one rank. Because he was always at the top throughout his career. Right from school, college, and everything, he was always at the top. So just one rank down, he couldn't handle it. So handling an insult or someone chastising you is easier than handling the constant recognition.
Abhijit, we don't have this problem, huh?
I was
How
thinking
would
the
you know
same.
that you don't have this problem? I'll tell you. There is a way to check. There is a barometer. You can check whether I have this problem or not. Good, you raised this, Kalpesh. How would you know that I will not be affected by the recognition? When someone praises you, even from his heart, you don't feel pride. You don't feel proud. If you feel proud, if you feel that pride, you know what I mean, right? If you feel that, that means you have this problem. If you feel nothing, and if you feel irritated by that, that's the best.
I
Even if he's doing it from the heart. Now, it is up to you. I'm just telling you. So, you know better. You can keep it to yourself. That's all right. If you want to share, you can.
I I feel either nothing or I feel irritated.
Yeah, because that could be one of the reasons that you don't trust the person, that
Yeah,
he's real or
that is
unreal.
the reason. Yes.
I am saying that when he's actually from his heart praising you, he's really real without any impurity. He's praising you, he's giving you all, but you do not like that recognition. Basically, it's not that the person, basically, you don't like recognition. That's a very good stage. Tough one, right?
Can I share something?
Yes, yes, Kalpesh.
This is just
So
couple
I'll
of
just
months
finish.
ago.
I'll just finish
Yeah,
one more statement. Sorry, Kalpesh. So
yeah.
when you are at that stage that someone praises you from the heart, also you feel irritated. You don't like it. If you are at that stage, then if someone insults you, you will not feel anything.
I think
That's a
Prabhuji,
beautiful, beautiful
you told
stage.
if you want to reduce our ego, that is the way to practice.
Yeah, but it is natural. I mean, it is something which will become natural when you follow certain spiritual processes. You'll slowly come to that stage. It's a very interesting stage.
Hmm.
Yeah, sorry, Kalpesh. Please continue.
So, Prabhuji, last month or so, one of my head of the managers or whatever, he said, "Oh, Kalpesh, you are an awesome guy, and this and that." Like, मतलब 6-8 महीने में तूने मतलब ना you've done such a great things, as if और कुछ किया भी या कुछ नहीं है. बेसिकली ना यहाँ पे को लोग मिल नहीं रहे काम करने के लिए, इसलिए ना मेरे को जितना हो सके उतना शुगर कोट कर रहे हैं. तो मैंने बोला वो सब जाने देना. You tell me ना how all my good things are going to turn into cherries. I'm after cherries. Not after just your recognitions. चुप बैठ गया, कुछ नहीं बोला उसके बाद में. I got to go. I'll talk to you later. As soon as asking for a raise. तेरा ऐसा thank you और fantastic work वगैरह, मतलब basically ना you're calling me a fantastic गधा. He's calling me a fantastic गधा. जब पैसे की बात की तो भाग गया.
Yeah, Rishi, you wanted to say something?
No, just adding to that, while this might have been with you, Kalpesh, I think in India or generally other places also, not just isolating India, but this is actually a reality. पैसा ठीक है at one stage, but a lot of people say I want recognition. So there's a big HR is doing a lot of work around employee of the month and star performer, and it's
Yeah,
not monetary, but it's that recognition.
Yeah.
And people are craving that, which is all
Yes.
ego satisfaction. Now that I get it, it's nothing to do with monetary benefit or some material benefit,
Yeah.
but or a new designation or a promotion, which may be assistant se deputy kar dega. It's just a title, but it's
Yeah.
something to. It's like a cherry, like you said.
Yeah. I agree with you. And in
The
Australia,
title
I found
changes, the
many a
job is
times
the same.
Hmm.
that the manager sometimes is paid less than the tech.
Hmm.
Many a times. I've seen many times. There are certain areas of work wherein they take pride in the position and they're happy to take less remuneration. Many, many of the defense positions are like that.
Mhm.
So they take pride in being a commander or someone. They don't get paid that much, but the position is right. So that is the nature of a person.
Is that still ego, Prabhuji? If somebody does that because they are attached to that position?
He knows. The person who has it, he only knows. How can I say?
Hmm.
You know what I
True.
mean? I
True.
can only say that how does he feel? It's up to him. So the barometer is that if someone takes you down from that position, how
How do you
badly you
feel?
are hurt.
True.
You know better. How can I tell?
True.
So the aspect is that you don't feel happy too much. You don't feel sorrow. That person who is in that state is called a yogi, and that is described in 2.48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya asiddhya samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. If you read that verse that defines what is yoga, we have a lot of definitions of yoga, right? Shirshasan, very difficult asan. To put your head down and legs up. शीर्षासन कर ले बहुत बढ़िया है योगा आता है इसको. But actual what yoga means, Krishna says in 2.48. What is yoga? Yogastha kuru karmani. With the karma, you will come to know whether you are yogi or no. How? That when you will work and siddhi asiddhi samo bhutva, whether you are successful or you are unsuccessful, you are same in both stages. Samatvam means you are
Somehow.
in same. You are in equilibrium. Samatvam. Yogya uchyate. So you are yogi. That is called yoga. So whether you are appreciated, whether you are chastised, you're both ways you're same. But still you'll carry on your duty. That is called yoga. State of mind. So yoga is a state of mind. It's not Shirshasana. It's not a state of body. I'm very happy. Okay. I'm very sad. Okay. Or how are you feeling inside? It's up. Nobody knows. You know whether you are in yoga or not. People start saying no offense, and they say something very offensive, trying to shield themselves with no offense.
No offense, but
But
and the actual
I'm
sentence starts
hurting
after
you.
but.
I'm starting to hurt you. No offense. Offense. That means they're trying to hurt you. If you're not hurt, the problem is not that whether you're what do you call able to answer. The problem is that whether you're hurt with the statement or not. How are you feeling inside? If you're not, if you're same equilibrium, then you'll be able to answer with the same equipoised state, and that's the best way to deal with the situations. And that's the toughest part for managers to be in that equilibrium. We'll come to that in chapter 2. That person who remains in that is called Sthitapragya.
Sthitaprajna.
Sthitapragyascha bhasha. It'll come later. Very interesting. Bhagavad Gita is going to get really interesting. It's management, very high level. Yes.
Prabhuji, if somebody asks you for a help
Hmm.
and you help them, or even if you're doing your office work, somebody asks a question, you're able to answer, or some task you're able to complete, and you feel satisfied with that you were able to achieve that.
Yeah.
Is that also a sense of being attached to it, or just being that sense of satisfaction? Okay, I was able to finish this. Is that also not being
There
in
is a
yoga?
very thin line between satisfaction and feeling proud.
Hmm.
The person who does it knows it better. The statement which comes from inside, I have done it, I really like it, and this has done the job for me, and it has settled, whatever the problem was, it is fixed. We have found the root cause. I'm satisfied. That is one.
Hmm.
Number two, thinking, I have done this
I did it. Oh, yeah.
and nobody else can crack it except me. So I am the, that is ego.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there are two ways of looking at it. It's how
Mm.
you feel inside, what statement comes out from you. You know, it's not what you speak, it's what do you feel from inside.
And
You
what
may
is
be
the
saying,
first?
no,
Yeah.
I'm completely okay, but you must be like angry on that person, wanting to kill that person. He's saying, hey, I'm okay, I'm all right. No, how are you feeling inside? Whether you're deeply hurt, anger, so that determines your ego inside.
That is
Whatever you say outside is here.
every wife in the world, Prabhuji. I'm fine.
Yeah. Jokes, yeah, there are
Yeah.
many jokes on that, but it depends on person to person how equipoised some person is. Sometimes I've seen ladies who are much more equipoised than men,
Mm.
very much equipoised. Hard to find though, but yeah, they're there.
So
Hard
the
to find
first,
men also in that equipoised position though. I'm not just being ladies here. Yeah, of course. Very hard to find people who are completely equipoised.
so the first one is fine. You're like that. If it is that feeling, then it is a
It's a
normal
good feeling.
reaction.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that it doesn't happen overnight or doesn't happen quickly. It takes time. Basically, what are you trying to achieve?
Mm.
Sometimes that anger or that passion to get that thing done and being angry and getting it done, people find it their um, their positive point, or I have this plus point. They find it as plus point.
Mm.
Sometimes being angry on others and getting things done, they find it that they are successful.
Yeah.
It is a quality, you know.
I know people who feel pride. I got it done. I
Yeah.
cracked the whip
So,
and got the job done.
so they feel, but then they also have what you call uh, a gap there, that if things don't happen according to them, they'll be deeply hurt.
Mm.
We don't know, we can't see that, they will not tell you I'm really hurt, but they will be. It is obvious because you can experience for yourself. But
True.
if you're able to handle that, you're able to handle the other side also. And it is gradual process. Basically, to be in that peaceful mindset, there is a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is a verse from Shikshashtakam. It is the third verse of Shikshashtakam. Trinad api suneshana, tarur api sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. You can actually Google it. Shikshashtakam, verse 3. So if you Google it, you will get this verse and you read the translation for me. Because when you will read it, you'll understand it better than I explaining it to you. Shikshashtakam, verse 3. Got it? I'm not Googling, so you have to Google. Abhijit already Googled? Looks like it.
Sorry, can you repeat the word Shesatakam?
So Shikshashtakam, verse 3. Verse number 3. Shikshashtakam, verse number 3. So Shikshashtakam
Kamadapi.
has Ashtaka has 8 verses. So the third verse, Trinad api suneshna tarur api sahishnuna
Yes.
amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari.
Yes, got it.
Translation.
One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
So if you can chant Hare Krishna with that mindset, slowly you will come out of that thick ego to the equilibrium
Your
of
mom.
Sthita Pragya. It's a very powerful verse which helped me chant. This verse and chanting with that mindset makes you humble. Humility is such a thing this world really needs because there's a lot of ego, unfortunately, strong ego across the world. We need more and more humble people. That doesn't mean that you become a doormat. Everybody steps you on. No. Krishna himself explains that Shato Shashtam. So with the evil, you have to play that way. That is intelligence. But from inside, you have to develop the quality of humility. So when you develop the quality of humility, then you will not be hurt. Basically, the idea is not to feel hurt, not to lose our sleep, to maintain the peace, to be in yoga. Okay, so it's 4:21. We'll end our session here.
Yeah.
So we catch up next Sunday, same time, 3 p.m.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
Any other questions or
Yes.
comments? No?